All right, so as you can see, this video is about geometric constructions. And a couple of weeks ago, we talked about how constructions were things that you build up from scratch. And so we're going to be building geometric shapes. So we're going to discuss what are they, why are they helpful, and do you really care? Which I know that yes, you do really care. So let's get started. Okay, so we're going to talk about constructing the perpendicular. So what is the distance from P to the line? Well, there are a ton of distances. Let's get a pretty color and let's go. Let's see. Here's a distance. Here's a distance. Here's a distance. Here's one. There's one. There's one. And you can see that it would go on forever. What is the shortest distance? The shortest distance is called the perpendicular. You guys should have already heard the words perpendicular, but we're going to review it as if you've never heard of it. So there's only one distance that is the shortest distance, obviously, and we're going to discuss how to make this perpendicular line. So here we go. And I'm also looking at page number 44 in your textbook if you want to look along with me. Or actually 45. So first thing we need to do is we need to get a compass. You know how technologically challenged I can be with the smartboard stuff. So here we go. It says to place the compass on the point P, which I forgot to name this P. There we go. Perfect. We've got point P. We have our compass on P, and we need to make two arcs on the line. I'm going to draw it out. Doesn't have to be a specific distance, but it just has to hit the line. Okay, so here's our first step. And just like always, we need to name these new points. So this is going to be A, little point right here where it crosses. And this is going to be B, right where it crosses there. I'll go ahead and make a little point for you, just in case you're picky. Point and point. Okay, so now we're going to take our compass to point A. And we need to stretch it out a little bit longer than what we were just using. Ah, wrong button. Technologically challenged, just told you that. So stretch it out a little bit. And then we need to make another arc up here. There's a pretty arc. And another one at the bottom. Just like with fractions, what you do to the top, you have to do to the bottom. You're going to be saying that in your sleep one day. Okay, so we finished A. Let's go over to B. Flip it around. Let's make it cross. That's the whole point of making these double arcs, is that you need a point where they cross each other. So we need to come down here. Make it cross. And voila. Last step to make our perpendicular line, which again means the shortest distance from a point to the line, pretty color. We connect these two. And of course, I'm using a giant dot and a computer, so maybe it doesn't look directly in the middle, but when you do it on your paper, it will look right. And another thing that you have to remember with perpendicular lines is that it creates a right angle. So we have 4 right angles here. It'll be important to remember that you can create right angles this way later on in this amazing video. Okay, so next we're going to make perpendicular from a point on a line. Before we had the point up here, and now we have the point actually on the line. Let's get rid of that point. Get my compass back. And I'm going to start at our beautiful point P. Stretch it out. Actually, thinking of something else. Oh, no, okay. So we start at P, we stretch it out. We have these two arcs on the line. And then we go to this little point here, which, like always, we have to label. Let's label this X. For whatever reason, the book says X. And Y over here. Now we have A, B, P, X, Y. I don't know. It's the book's idea. So anyways, we stretch it out a little bit because we need it to be past the P. Right now, it would go straight through the P. We need it to go past the P. So let's stretch it out and make an arc on both sides of the P. And then let's go over to the Y. Whoop. Make our arc. Come down here. Make our arc. And then you guessed it, we connect these two intersections with a line. What does this create again? Oh yes, the perpendicular. And what kind of angles does a perpendicular line create? Oh yeah, right angles. Thank you. Thank you for your cooperation in this video. Let me draw these reminder angles for you. There you go. All right. Now, since the video is running a little bit long, I'm not going to actually show you this one, but I am going to talk about it shortly. So on Monday, we talked about the area of a triangle being 1/2 base times the height. Here we have the base, but we have no height because the height has to be a perpendicular line to the base. So you just learned how to create a perpendicular from a point on a line, or from a point to a line. See, this would be the point. You can create the perpendicular to this line. So then you could find out this height by measuring it with a ruler. All right, so just to sum up what we talked about here, a perpendicular line is the shortest distance between a point and a line. This is the key to perpendiculars. It's the shortest distance and it creates a right angle, which is right there as you can read through. The perpendicular passes through the line at right angles. And what is an example of a need for a perpendicular? So this question is for you guys to think about by Monday. What is an example of a need for a perpendicular? All right, thank you for watching. I'm sure you're going to rewatch it a million times because you love me so much.